Bus driver Tom Reynolds had been driving Route 47 for 15 years, beloved by children and trusted by parents. His yellow school bus was a safe haven that carried 30 kids to Riverside Elementary every morning. But when K-9 Officer Davis brought his German Shepherd partner Storm for a routine school safety demonstration, the dog's reaction to Reynolds' bus was immediate and violent. Storm backed away, hackles raised, refusing to board the vehicle that children climbed into trustingly every day. What Storm detected hidden beneath that school bus would expose a bomb plot that would have killed every child on board. Welcome to Saved by Tales. Before we dive into this heart-stopping story of a canine's instincts preventing an unthinkable tragedy targeting innocent children, tell me in the comments, have you ever seen an animal refuse to go near something that seemed completely safe to humans? And if you believe these incredible stories of animal heroes protecting our most vulnerable deserve to be heard, hit that subscribe button and join our community celebrating the four-legged guardians who can detect danger that completely escapes human senses. Tom Reynolds was everything parents wanted in a school bus driver. At 52, he had a spotless driving record, a gentle manner with children, and a reputation for going above and beyond to keep his young passengers safe. He knew every child's name on Route 47, remembered their birthdays, and often helped with lost homework or forgotten lunch money. Mr. Tom is the best, 8-year-old Emma Martinez told her mother every day after school. He always makes sure we're buckled in and tells us jokes when we're scared of thunder. Reynolds drove the morning and afternoon routes for Riverside Elementary, picking up 30 children from the suburban neighborhoods surrounding the school. His yellow bus, number 47, was meticulously maintained and decorated with safety reminders and cheerful stickers that the children had given him over the years. Principal Sandra Walsh considered Reynolds one of their most valuable team members. Parents specifically request Route 47 because they trust Tom so completely, she said. He's never had an accident, never had a complaint, never missed a day unless he was genuinely ill. He's the kind of employee every school district dreams of having. Reynolds lived alone in a modest apartment near the bus depot, having never married. His entire social life revolved around his work and the children he transported. He attended their school plays, sporting events, and graduation ceremonies. To the families of Riverside Elementary, Tom Reynolds was practically family. But on October 15th, that trust would be tested by a dog who saw what no human suspected. Riverside Elementary's annual Safety Week was scheduled for the third week of October, featuring demonstrations from local police, firefighters, and emergency medical services. The event was designed to teach children about personal safety, emergency procedures, and the community helpers who protected them. Officer Michelle Davis was assigned to bring her K-9 partner, Storm, to demonstrate police dog capabilities and vehicle safety procedures. Storm was a 6-year-old German Shepherd with an exceptional service record in drug detection, explosive detection, and search and rescue operations. The kids love seeing Storm work, Davis told Principal Walsh during their planning meeting. We'll show them how police dogs help keep schools safe, and Storm can demonstrate vehicle searches on one of your buses. Principal Walsh was enthusiastic about the demonstration. Bus 47 is our showcase vehicle. Tom Reynolds keeps it immaculate, and the children are already familiar with it. Would that work for your demonstration? Davis agreed, not knowing that this routine educational event would become the most important day of Storm's career. Safety Week began on Monday morning, with presentations in the school auditorium. Storm was a hit with the children, demonstrating basic commands and showing how police dogs assist officers in their work. The students asked endless questions about his training, his favorite treats, and whether he got to play when he wasn't working. Storm has been specially trained to detect dangerous things that humans can't smell, Davis explained to the captivated audience. His nose is thousands of times more sensitive than ours. He can find drugs, explosives, and even people who are hiding. The vehicle demonstration was scheduled for Wednesday afternoon in the school parking lot. Bus 47 was parked near the playground, where Tom Reynolds had positioned it for easy access during the presentation. He stood nearby, smiling proudly, as parents and children gathered around his pristine bus. "This is my bus," called out third grader Jake Sullivan. "Mr. Tom drives us every day." Reynolds waved at Jake and the other children from his route. "Hope Storm likes riding in Bus 47 as much as you kids do," he said to Davis with his characteristic friendly demeanor. But Storm's reaction would be anything but friendly. As Davis approached Bus 47 with Storm for the demonstration, the dog's behavior began to change. His ears went forward, his pace slowed, and his nose started working overtime, sampling the air around the vehicle with intense concentration. "Easy, Storm," Davis said, noticing her partner's sudden alertness. "It's just a school bus." But as they got within 10 feet of Bus 47, Storm's reaction became dramatic and unmistakable. The dog planted his feet, lowered his head, and began backing away from the vehicle while emitting a low, continuous growl that made every parent in the area take notice. "What's wrong with the dog?" asked one concerned mother. Davis was equally puzzled. Storm had searched hundreds of vehicles during his career without ever showing fear or reluctance. School buses were particularly familiar to him. He'd inspected them at other schools without any issues. "Storm, search," Davis commanded, using the German phrase that directed him to examine the vehicle. But Storm refused. Instead of approaching bus 47, he continued backing away, his growling becoming more agitated. When Davis tried to lead him closer to the bus, Storm pulled so hard against his leash that she had to brace herself to keep from being dragged backward. Tom Reynolds stepped forward, looking concerned. Maybe there's something about the bus that's bothering him. I cleaned it thoroughly this morning, but maybe there's a scent from the cleaning products. Davis shook her head. Storm was trained to work around all kinds of chemical smells. This wasn't a reaction to cleaning supplies. This was his danger alert, the behavior he exhibited when he detected explosives or other threats. Everyone step back from the bus, Davis announced, her training taking over. Storm is showing signs of a positive alert. Alert for what? Principal Walsh asked, though the fear in her voice suggested she already suspected. Explosives, Davis replied grimly, reaching for her radio. I need to call this in. The crowd of parents and children immediately began moving away from bus 47, their excited chatter turning to worried murmurs. Tom Reynolds stood frozen beside his bus, his face pale with what appeared to be shock and confusion. That's impossible, Reynolds said. I've been driving this bus for years. There's nothing dangerous about it. But Storm seemed to disagree completely. The dog was now in full alert mode, focused entirely on the undercarriage of the bus, barking intermittently while maintaining his safe distance. Davis called for immediate backup, including the county bomb squad and FBI explosive detection team. The school was placed on lockdown, and all children were evacuated to the gymnasium on the opposite side of the building from the parking lot. This is probably just a false alert, Captain Rodriguez told Davis as they waited for the bomb squad to arrive. Storm's been under a lot of stress with these community events. Maybe he's just having an off day, but Davis trusted Storm's instincts completely. In 6 years of partnership, he had never given a false positive alert. When Storm said there were explosives, there were explosives. The bomb squad arrived within 30 minutes, led by Sergeant Mike Torres, a 20-year veteran of explosive ordnance disposal. He immediately established a 200-yard perimeter around bus 47 and began his preliminary assessment. Your dog's definitely alerting to something under the vehicle, Torres told Davis after his initial examination. I'm seeing some modifications to the chassis that don't look factory standard. Tom Reynolds was questioned by FBI agents while Torres and his team worked. Reynolds maintained his innocence, claiming he had no knowledge of any modifications to the bus and suggesting that perhaps someone had tampered with the vehicle overnight. What the bomb squad found underneath bus 47 made every law enforcement officer on scene go cold. Attached to the vehicle's frame was a sophisticated explosive device, containing enough material to destroy not just the bus, but any building it was parked near. This isn't some amateur job, Torres explained to the FBI task force that had assembled. This is military-grade explosive with a remote detonation system. Whoever built this knew exactly what they were doing. The bomb was designed to be triggered remotely, meaning it could be detonated at any time while the bus was in operation or parked at the school. The explosion would have been massive enough to kill everyone on board and cause significant damage to nearby structures. If that bus had been carrying children when this device was triggered, Torres continued, we'd be looking at 30 fatalities plus anyone nearby. This wasn't meant to be a warning, this was meant to be a massacre. As FBI agents processed the bomb scene, their investigation into Tom Reynolds revealed information that shattered the community's trust in their beloved bus driver. Reynolds wasn't the gentle, devoted employee everyone believed him to be. He was part of a domestic terrorism cell that had been planning attacks on schools across 3 states. Reynolds was the inside man. FBI agent Sarah Martinez explained to the gathered law enforcement officers. He had access to school facilities, knew the schedules, and could position explosive devices without arousing suspicion. His perfect employee record was cover for a long-term terrorist operation. Computer files found in Reynolds' apartment revealed detailed plans for attacks on multiple schools, including maps, schedules, and photographs of potential targets. The Riverside Elementary bombing was supposed to be the first in a series of attacks designed to terrorize communities and disrupt the education system. He spent 15 years building trust so he could exploit it, Agent Martinez continued. Parents and children trusted him completely, which gave him perfect access to carry out an attack that would have been devastating. Reynolds' arrest led to a nationwide investigation that uncovered a domestic terrorism network operating in 7 states. The group, calling itself the Education Liberation Front, was planning coordinated attacks on schools to protest what they saw as government indoctrination of children. They believed they could force changes to the education system through fear and violence, Agent Martinez told the media. Reynolds was just one cell in a larger network that had been planning these attacks for over 2 years. The investigation revealed that other school employees in different states were also part of the network, janitors, teachers, and bus drivers who had used their trusted positions to gather intelligence and plan attacks. If Storm hadn't detected that bomb, Agent Martinez said during a press conference, we might never have uncovered this network. One dog's alert prevented not just a massacre at Riverside Elementary, but attacks on schools across the country. Dr. Robert Kim, an expert in canine explosive detection, was brought in to analyze how Storm had detected the bomb when human inspections had missed it completely. German Shepherds can detect explosive compounds at concentrations as low as parts per trillion, Dr. Kim explained. Storm was responding to chemical traces that were completely imperceptible to human senses. But the bomb was hidden underneath the bus, Officer Davis pointed out. How did he detect it from 10 feet away? Dogs create three-dimensional scent maps of their environment, Dr. Kim replied. Storm wasn't just smelling the explosives, he was tracking the scent molecules as they dispersed around the vehicle. His refusal to approach the bus was his way of telling you that the entire area was dangerous. The case became a landmark study in the use of canine units for school security and terrorism prevention. The revelation that Tom Reynolds had been planning to murder the children he'd driven for years left the Riverside community in shock. Parents struggled to explain to their children that someone they'd trusted completely had intended to harm them. "It's shattered our sense of safety," said Jennifer Morrison, mother of 2 children on Route 47. "How do we teach our kids to trust adults when someone like Tom Reynolds could fool us all for 15 years? The school district implemented new background check procedures and security protocols, including regular canine sweeps of all vehicles and facilities. Storm became a permanent part of the school's security program, conducting weekly inspections of buses, buildings, and grounds. Storm saved our children's lives, Principal Walsh said at a community meeting. But more than that, he taught us that we can't be too careful when it comes to protecting the people we love most." The children who had ridden Bus 47 with Tom Reynolds every day struggled to understand how their friendly driver could have wanted to hurt them. School counselors worked extensively with the 30 children who would have been victims of the bombing. "Mr. Tom always seemed so nice," said Emma Martinez, now receiving counseling to process the betrayal. "He remembered my birthday and helped me with my backpack. I don't understand why he wanted to hurt us." Storm became a therapeutic presence for many of the children, visiting the school regularly and allowing them to pet him and ask questions about his work. His gentle nature helped them understand that there were good protectors in the world, as well as hidden threats. "Storm is our real hero," said Jake Sullivan during one of the dog's visits. "He saved us from someone we thought was our friend." Storm received numerous awards for preventing what would have been one of the deadliest school attacks in American history. He was honored by the American Kennel Club, the National School Boards Association, and the Department of Homeland Security. But the recognition that meant the most came from the children and families of Route 47. They held a special ceremony at the school, presenting Storm with a handmade medal and a scrapbook filled with thank you letters and drawings. "Storm, you saved our lives," read one letter from a 3rd grader. "Thank you for being braver than the bad man. You are the best dog in the world." Officer Davis was overwhelmed by the community's gratitude. "Storm was just doing his job," she said through tears. But knowing that his nose saved 30 children from a terrorist attack, that's something we'll never forget. 3 years after preventing the Riverside bombing, Davis and Storm continued their work with enhanced focus on school security. Their partnership had exposed multiple security threats at educational facilities, always guided by Storm's incredible ability to detect danger that humans couldn't perceive. The Reynolds case taught us that threats to our children can come from anyone, even people we trust most. Davis reflected. But it also taught us that protection comes from unexpected sources, like a dog who refuses to board a school bus. Storm's legacy extended beyond the single attack he prevented. His case led to nationwide improvements in school security protocols and the expanded use of canine units in educational facilities. The yellow school bus that once symbolized childhood safety had been transformed into a weapon of terror, but Storm's instincts had preserved its true meaning, as a symbol of the community's commitment to protecting its most precious members. Nazenjan NJ. I still get chills thinking about that October afternoon, when 30 children would have climbed aboard Bus 47 for their normal ride home, not knowing they were stepping into a terrorist's trap. If Davis had forced Storm to overcome his fear, if she'd dismissed his refusal as stress or confusion, those children would have become victims of an attack that would have shattered families and traumatized a community forever. Storm's story teaches us something terrifying but essential about the nature of trust and protection. The people we trust most with our children, teachers, coaches, bus drivers, have incredible power over young lives. Most use that power to nurture and protect, but some exploit it in ways that are almost impossible to detect with human senses. But it also shows us that vigilance comes in forms we might not expect. Storm couldn't speak the words "there's a bomb under that bus," but his refusal to approach the vehicle communicated that message more clearly than any human warning could have. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen an animal refuse to approach something that seemed completely safe to humans? Have your pets shown unusual fear or avoidance behavior that later proved to be justified? These reactions might be more important warning signs than we realize, especially when it comes to protecting our children. Share your experiences in the comments below, because at Saved by Tales, we believe that our four-legged protectors can detect threats that completely fool our human judgment. If Storm's incredible story moved you, if it made you think differently about trusting animal instincts over human assumptions, please share this video with other parents and educators who need to hear it. Hit that like button, subscribe to Saved by Tales, and help us continue telling the stories of animals whose refusal to ignore their instincts protects our most vulnerable citizens. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the most important warnings come from those who refuse to take another step toward danger, even when everyone else sees only safety.